is affecting us as a nation, economic wise. This is the conversation that we'll be having right here on radio today. And I'm hoping that you sit back so that you can learn because it's very important that we learn to tolerate one another, especially when it comes to our religious beliefs. And to do justice to this, we have the Global Secretary Generation for Societal Change, Mr. Lawrence Hulaji. Good afternoon and thank you for coming.
Hi, good afternoon, Cassandra. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for coming right here to us. All right, now let's get right into it. Even though I give a bit of a hint, it's for our listener that is listening. What is the business of religion and economy? What does it have to do with anything?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to our listeners. Religious tolerance, if got here, I was saying to my friend Sultan Kamal that such a sensitive topic, but it's such a wonderful time to discuss it, seeing that both the Christians and the Muslims are in such a very holy moment. Yeah. Yes. So, but then there is just a direct connection, I'll put it this way, between religion, tolerance of each person's religion, and then the economy of our country. You asked a question in your opening statement. You said, what is the cost of this division to our economy? The most important thing is that investors, first of all, they will shy away from unstable regions once they feel like these particular people do not understand what it means to tolerate one another, to see their humanity. They feel that tension and then they avoid such regions. And of course, the issue of tourism, when we look at the experiences we've had in the past, tourism would definitely be affected in such places. Maybe the way people will perceive what is happening in a certain place because they are fighting, and then somehow the conversation goes that, oh, it is this set of people, I mean this other set or you know people, and so you don't even want to go to such plales, even if they have the best of sights, they have the warmest of waters, or maybe in this situation the best waters because the whole country is so hot.
The climate
you know, and then the resources that could drive development are diverted to manage conflict instead of now using money to fix roads, to fix water. You are now mobilizing security forces to go to the front lines to defend the vulnerable. These are just...
Or even take care of displaced people.
Indeed. So these are direct correlation or relationship between religious intolerance and then the economy.
All right. Now, let's go back to the beginning. When we talk about religious tolerance and, of course, religious intolerance, for the layman listening to us this afternoon, what does it mean?
So basically, it means, or let's now define religious tolerance. Religious tolerance just simply means looking beyond the faith of people, respecting how they choose to access God, and then just looking at their humanity. Just treat every person as a human more than you treat them with the mindset of how they are relating with their creator. It's that simple.
How they're relating with their creator.
Respect it and then focus on dealing with them as humans.
Looking at their humanity and not who they pray to or what they worship.
Or how they even get there.
Okay, now still talking about this, how would you, rate a level of, religious tolerance at the moment?
First, I would, in short, I had that thought while I was coming here, because the moment you start talking about religious tolerance, people think, oh, it's such a big issue and all that. The reason why we do this is because, first of all, it is in our constitution. We are trying to conscientize Nigerians that in your own constitution, chapter 2, section 23, 7 of these values were mentioned, one of which is religious tolerance, right? I would say that from my experience, as a Nigerian and then maybe traveling around, I have not necessarily faced a situation where people judged me, to my knowledge based on my religion or try to harm me because of that. So on that space, I'll say we're doing fantastic. The reason why this has become important is because we still know that there are many uninformed people out there who need to hear conversations like this to understand that, you see, life is really beyond that. It's beyond what you think about the other person's religion. There's a lot to focus on yourself. But the truth is, Nigeria so far, so good, I would say, we have not necessarily heard dispatches, around, but it is still good that we speak about it. Even though we are doing good, there's still room to do more. So I think that having these conversations from time to time continues to remind us. Somebody somewhere might just need these conversations to be reminded that religion is something that is quite personal, right? And then it requires the other person to respect as well, so that we can all live in harmony.
Okay, now we cannot, emphasize the importance of talking or conversations like this. But some people would say that looking at the issues in Nigeria and how deeply
Rooted.
yes, the religious beliefs are, because we're a very religious nation, even though constitutionally we are a secular state that does not necessarily adopt any religion as an official religion,
Indeed.
unlike when we have in the Arab countries and all of that.
Yeah.
Some people would say that talk may not be enough because some of these beliefs have been there for a long time. As much as we would say we've made improvements, it's just a slight provocation. Just say, oh, this person did like this. And you see people come out with clubs. You see people come out and they are ready to mob the next person because of what they said about a particular person or a particular god.
Indeed.
Yes. So when you say that we have made progress or we are doing well, in what aspects?
Well, it's what you have said is very correct and really requires consideration. I would only say the way I see that it can go, because you see, this thing is behavioral, right? It is, like you said, it's deeply rooted in beliefs that people have had over time. Is that correct? But the truth is this. It still boils down to education. It boils down to we talking about it, to leaders talking about it, religious leaders talking about it clearly, right? Like clearly, when you have your followers, you make it clear to them that the fact that this is the religion you practice, this religion is very, very clear and serious about saying you need to respect the next person and their religion. Because you see, the religion that we practice here in Nigeria is binded by our shared values of those religion, the values of love, the values of justice, right? These are things that we need to speak more about, right? So that we can, we can keep this peace that would at the end attract economic prosperity and progress in the country. We need to be very aware on how this relates to economy, so that we can all work together, all right, so that we can all enjoy. Because what we've been practicing over time, like you said, might not have necessarily brought us any good. We've not eaten the fruits. In short, because maybe the fruit is not even nice.
It's not, it's
but
rotten.
If we planted a new seed of tolerance for each other's religion, it's almost obvious what the fruits that it would provide would be. And this is what we are trying to do. Constant talking, education, engagement with stakeholders, pushing them, aligning with them to speak to the people, to over time change the behavior of the people as it relates to religious tolerance.
Change the behavior of the people as it relates to religious tolerance. And you made mention of stakeholders, the religious leaders, and the huge role that they have to play. In fact, when you look at some of the doctrines, from all the religions available, you would see that there are provisions in these doctrines that preach tolerance.
Indeed.
For another religion.
Indeed.
As opposed to another one. There are doctrines where those things that we do the opposite are there to guide us. But it seems like there is, should I say, a misunderstanding of some of these doctrines, or should I say manipulation
of the information,
manipulation of the information
for some people to gain from. This is just the
We'll
truth.
definitely come back to that after this break. Please sit back and keep listening to Eagles 102.3 from Abuja. This is the National Core Values, and today we are discussing religious tolerance and how it relates to economic prosperity. Please sit back and enjoy the moment. We'll be back in a moment.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja. Has anyone told you you can talk about your business on radio for just
20,000 naira?
Get a chance to talk your business for 25 minutes on The Entrepreneur. Mondays to Fridays, 3 p.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja. For more inquiries, call 090-9984-4433. 090-9984-4433. Hurry now.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Glad to know you're still tuned and listening to Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, your radio experience you can always count on. And yes, we are still here talking national core values, and today we are spotlighting religious tolerance and the role it has to play in boosting our economy or having that prosperity we need as regards the economy. And we have been talking with the Global Secretary for Generation for Societal Change, Mr. Lawrence Hulaji. Thank you so much once again for coming.
Thank you, Cassandra.
All right, so before that break, we were talking about the fact that some people have manipulated some of these doctrines to their advantage or the gains that they actually stand to benefit. And not a lot of people know this, especially, the populace that you said are quite uninformed. And that is why we need to have these conversations so that we let them know that it's more like they're being used as pawns in the game, in the larger game that does not even benefit them. Because even when you put your religion first, even when you say, oh, this or that, it doesn't change the fact that you don't have access to pipe-borne water. It doesn't change the fact that you don't have access to 24 hours electricity. It doesn't change the fact that there are no good roads
to carry your farm produce to the market.
It doesn't change the fact that if anything happens health-wise, you have to travel kilometers, miles upon miles, just for you to access a hospital that is not even good. So, where do we go from here? How do we let these people know that you are being manipulated?
Well, it's overwhelming when you think about the magnitude of work that is required to really change the behavior of 80% of Nigerians to understand the benefits of religious tolerance. But you see, we have to start somewhere. As a matter of fact, what I always have in mind is if you spend 20 years going in a wrong direction, trying to access your destination, when you realize you've gone so far into 20 years, do you keep going into the wrong direction?
You have to make a turn.
You have to make a turn.
No matter how
deep into that journey
you create a new path.
To where now?
You create a new path.
You have to adjust. You have to stare to the other, another angle. And so I think that's where we are. What this has done to us, this misinformation has done to us, to our country, is so huge, and you would find out that any focused, any sincere leader who is trying to really change something in this space is faced with a difficult task. Right? But it still is not something that we shy away from. We can't even run away from it. The truth is and that's why I talked about the stakeholders, both the National Orientation Agency, which I think needs massive funding for programs like this to really financial agency needs to be funded with proper evaluation and monitoring mechanisms. These values are laced into the veins of Nigerians, maybe with a 20-year strategic period, But my point is, we need to begin the conversation. We need to engage stakeholders. We need to meet these people that we consider misinformed where they are. There needs to even be a proper research, collection of data, asking questions. What do you really think about lessons really and seeing solutions to and once I'm done school rhymes, are not just abandon them. You follow them all to university. That when universities that can curb religious in their community, this has to be done so that the years ahead will be sweet, fruitful, and filled with confidence in the way that people practice their religion.
Now, I was just trying to, imagine what it would be like the time we attain that level of religious tolerance. How beautiful Nigeria would be. Because over time, we've had our own fair share. In fact, we are still having incidents of religious intolerance. I think just about, 4 years ago, we had a situation in Sokoto. We've had a lot of cases that we do not even want to go, trying to remember, because they are very sad stories that we don't want to remember. But, however, we must face these conversations with these examples so that we know the damage or the harm that has been caused so far and why we need to retrace. Like you mentioned earlier, that if you have gone on a journey, no matter how far, once you realize that you took the wrong turn, there's nothing wrong in you admitting and trying to take the right step. Now, I was just when you research as to why the UAE is very religious tolerant, you would see that there is a constitutional guarantee. You would see that the UAE's constitution guarantees freedom of worship and religion. It is embedded, and it is not just embedded because they want to embed it. Let's also talk about the fact that it has like provisions. I don't know, they practice what they preach. It's more like practicing what, it's not as if we don't have the provisions in our own constitution, but I feel like we don't just practice what we preach.
Do we even know what is in the constitution, please?
So all of these things, when you look at, the examples that nations like the UAE portray, or let's even talk about, other nations like Singapore, Malaysia, they are not like Christian dominated. They are not.
Indeed.
They are not, there are some that are not even Islamic dominated.
Yes.
Or should you say Hinduism, or they have different religions. People worship, like even when you go to India, there are different religions.
Indeed.
Different religions.
Yes. Cancelo, let me help you.
Okay.
You see, the very first reason why you wake up in the morning, take your bag, run to the airport, and you're so excited, oh, I'm going to Dubai.
I'm telling
It's
you.
because you feel like nothing will harm you in Dubai.
Exactly.
Is that not correct?
And that brings that level of prosperity to them, because you're going to spend your money
It's
there.
tourism for them. You go there and you spend your money, and that's what we're talking about, the direct relationship between religious tolerance and the prosperity of the Nigerian economy.
Yes.
And this peace that we feel we are going to enjoy when we get to Dubai is not just something that is left in the hand of the government. Even the people of Dubai, when they see you, they know you're a guest, and so they treat you with the utmost respect. They welcome you warmly, right? And they make you comfortable so that you don't just go back, you have to come back again. Is that correct? So that is part of the tolerance. So we are saying, let's even begin to transmit that energy of peace within the Nigerian territory by all people, to say, now we have understood, we now respect each other and our religion. Don't be scared, guys. You can now visit us. When you come, we can welcome you with a smile, even if you are Hindu, whatever that you practice. But like I said, it requires a time of educating the minds of these people. Right? And then coming to, there was something you said in the beginning, like you only imagine what it would feel like
when we attain that level.
When we attain that level
tolerance
of harmony within ourselves. I tell you, the benefits are enormous. We are just talking about the economic benefits in terms of the prosperity. For the funny fact, it actually increases our spirituality. You see, that's God that we are trying to access, because now we have taken a path that God has commanded us mostly to follow, which is love, compassion, right, for each other. It takes us even closer to that God. Is that not correct?
Yes, because we practice directly what is in the doctrine, what is embedded. Because even the Holy Book says, love your neighbor as yourself.
Indeed.
Because when you love yourself, you cannot just put your hand in the fire. You can't intentionally harm yourself. That is to show that you're supposed to love this person as equally as you love yourself. Now, let's also look at, away from the UAE, let's talk about Indonesia. There is a particular part of Indonesia that is called Bali, where people go there. It's a holiday destination.
Bali,
It's a
Bali is
tourist,
so popular.
like it's a holiday destination where people go snap and everything.
Indeed.
Indonesia has 87% of Muslims and just 11% of Christians.
Indeed. Boy.
But when you look at the level of progress,
That you're
when you
experiencing.
yes, you wouldn't even know if someone did not tell you that this is what is there. You know, people go there, they wear whatever they want to wear, but there is a clear stated regulation.
Indeed.
Just like in Dubai.
Yes.
When you want to take your alcohol, there are places you go take it.
Indeed.
There are places where you don't take it to. And the moment you respect those boundaries,
Yes.
everywhere is good.
Yes.
The UAE is saying you can come to Dubai, have your fun, but in this particular place, it's supposed to be a no-go area. You can come to this place, do whatever you want to do, but don't intrude in this particular space.
Do not disrespect us as well.
And I think that is what we are trying to project.
Indeed.
It's not when you want to do it like it's supposed to be by force.
Yes.
Or it's supposed to be someone has to go down for these beliefs to be enforced.
I was going to say this, that, you know, now we're talking about religious tolerance. Some people might even mistake religious tolerance for religious disrespect.
Okay.
So, no, I just heard on radio, they said you should be tolerant. You must be tolerant to my behavior. You know, at the end of the day, what we are trying to project is respect. So, in as much as we are expecting each person to tolerate each other's religion, we're also saying respect
Exactly.
this person's mode of beliefs. Don't come and see someone maybe that wears their hijab, then you say, why is this person wearing hijab?
Yeah, talk
all
down
these
on
all
it,
these
yeah.
people,
Talk down on it.
yes, you have to respect them. I think respect is a key word here now. You have to respect them so that they are also comfortable, and then it removes that tension that causes impulsive behaviors and reactions. So if you come and meet somebody and say, this person, now this is what this person practices, in a very downgrading way, it affects that person's ego, let me put it that
Yes,
way, and
yes.
their minds, you know, in a way that is not healthy. So what we're trying to say is you have to be very courteous, respectful of each person's belief. You have to even treat them as sacred, because you see, these things are important to people. All right, do not come with the sense of, oh, you have to tolerate me, is me, my own over your own. No, focus on yours and allow everyone to focus on theirs.
Now something happened this morning. So, the tailors that walk about. I wanted to adjust.
Obioma.
Yes, I wanted to adjust the dress. So what I usually do is, like, even if it's like a cobbler or whoever, like I want you to render your services. What I do out of courtesy is I give you water. So I forgot. You know, the fasting is going on even for the Catholics and then even for the Muslims. So I forgot, and then I offered him water. And then he just told me that I'm fasting. That was when I didn't push it. Like,
course.
I had to apologize, and he said it's fine. He was not offended because he knew that I did it. I forgot.
Indeed.
I probably didn't know I forgot.
Indeed.
And he just, how he said it, he was quite polite about it. Even to other, they'd be like, why are you trying to give me?
You're trying
Don't
to
you
tempt
know?
me
You
with what?
understand? It would have been a different case altogether. But he was so understanding that he knew that this lady probably does not know, or she does not remember that he is fasting at the moment. And then he just told me that I am fasting.
Indeed.
And I had to, I said, oh, sorry. I just took the water back.
Grateful, Cassandra, that you made reference to this kind of example where this particular person in question, with respect, still gave you his feedback that he was fasting. I think it's a good place to build on. You see, people out there are very ready to be polite.
Yeah, it depends on the energy they get.
Depends on the energy that they get. And that's why I say, everything that is good is something that we want, but over time we have been, we have gone through so many situations that has made our minds to process things differently. We really need to start building on that kind of politeness of this tailor that you encountered. The next person, when you meet somebody, you have to try and even speak to them in a very respectful tone.
Sure.
You see, and funny enough, we're having a conversation some time back, the interactions of the people, even in Abuja, in traffics, in roundabouts, in let's say traffic situations, you see how we interact with ourselves. It's quite a bit tensed. It shouldn't be that way. It really should not be that way. And these little behaviors shows who we really are. While some are trying to stop in front of the traffic lights that says red, you will still see many people speed over.
Yeah.
These conversations are for such people. So now we are talking about religious tolerance. There are people who are now ready to say, you know what, maybe I might not have been so tolerant in the past, but you see, because of really the intolerance does not bring any benefit except tension and destabilizing the space. Today I'm going to try. Oh, the neighbor that is beside me that is probably a Christian, I could go say, hello madam, how are you doing today? Are you also fasting? I wish you the best. May God answer your prayers. The fact that that woman goes with that, let the other woman not say, which day this one starts, where this woman one come they greet me like this. Meet her in that energy. Oh, I'm very fine, thank you. I hope yours as well is going as amazing as you know. And then let's run with that energy. This is what we're trying to do.
That is what we are trying to do. Your religion is as important as how you portray it or how the next person receives it, because it goes to project if there will be peace or not. And that is why today we are having this conversation on why we should be tolerant of each other's religion. For us to have a prosperous nation, for us to have that country that works, we must see that the next person's religion is not inferior to ours.
Indeed.
Or ours is superior to theirs. And we have to just take clues from other countries or other nations and what they have been able to achieve so far. Well, remember, you can also be a part of the conversation by calling us on 09073530044, or you send us a message on WhatsApp 09097054450. And remember, as always, we are live across all social media platforms and we are active on YouTube. Just check us out on YouTube. We have a call already. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you?
Very well, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Comrade Saleh Sisa. I'm calling from Suleja, Niger State.
Good to hear from you. Go ahead.
What you like? I say I'm very fine. I like the program.
Okay.
But what is there is that in our country, Nigeria, we have Muslim and Christians. In the religion of Muslim and Christian, is what God created is for love in this world. Love one another. Inside Bible was love one another. Inside Muslim Quran the same thing. So, and these religions supposed to love one another or do the things right. They say don't steal, don't thief. Inside Bible the same thing. Don't do the same thing. So now we that we are practicing this religion, Muslim and Christian, like I'm practicing Muslim, I know the law very well. But today, this world, you see leaders, they steal, the Christians, they are focused to steal. They see leaders, they are doing the wrong things, and the followers is following them. Only you that have God mind to change your mind, to follow your religions. And the leaders, they're not ready to practice, to preach the gospel so that people will change. They are continuing to do the wrong thing. That's the problem we have. So when we can see people, like where I'm living now, you see my neighbor, everybody's on your own. Nobody care for you. Everybody pass you, they not even check on you. How are you? How was the night? Nobody care for you. Everybody pass their own way. So there's no love. And when love is not exist, things are getting wrong in this country. Thank you. I pray that maybe one day, maybe people will start knowing what is love, what is the religion all about. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you for taking our time to call us here on the National Core Values. 09073530044 is the number to connect with us. Remember, you can also comment on our Facebook page and also YouTube to see what's going on here in the studio. 09073530044 is the number, or you can send us a message on WhatsApp 09097054450. Now, before we go, let's talk about this. Now, you hear people sometimes, they say that when it has to do. Okay, sorry, we have a call. Let me just pick it. Hello. Please tune
Hello?
down the volume on your radio set.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Just tune down the volume on your radio set.
Okay, let me leave the radio side.
Thank you very much.
Am I okay there now?
Yes, please. Let's try.
Okay, my name is Edananda. You see, that religion tolerance can never be possible in Nigeria now, for this generation now.
Okay.
Because politicians have used religion, poor religion, into problem in Nigeria. Remember the case of Deborah killing Deborah in Sokoto. Up to now, nobody is trying for it. Try for that. You remember how they killed many Christians, killed many pastors in the north here because of religion. Nobody tried that. How did you unite people, Christian religion and Muslim religion in Nigeria here? So religion tolerance in Nigeria is a big problem because they have taken the wrong teaching. You see, if you go to Muslim religion, Christian soldiers from Ethiopia, they give them to Muhammad to go and fight a war in Saudi Arabia. The first person to call a player in Saudi Arabia is a Christian change to Muslim, Bilal. So if the Christian king will give the soldier to Muhammad to go and win a war in Saudi Arabia, I don't see the reason why Christian and Muslim will have problem in Nigeria. But politicians have picked the wrong religion, wrong thing. What Quran did not say, they say this, and turn the religion problem in Nigeria here. Religion problem made them not to develop north. You see, all the investment in Kano, Kaduna, Sokoto have led up into Abuja here because of religion problem. So if you are talking to religion excellence in Nigeria, it's not going to possible because politicians have turned the religion problem to turn Nigeria to religion problem, and they give them wrong teaching. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Elder, for calling us. Okay, you want to react to that?
I heard two speakers on the telephone, say things that worries them. I just want to inform us that, you see, the name of my organization is Generation for Societal Change. We are not necessarily basing the impact of what we are doing on today. It's about tomorrow. You see, the callers that have called, by natural factors, in the next 50 years, 100 years, they've left this office. That's why I spoke to you about meeting those in the nursery schools. Because if time stays, these ones will become the leaders. Leaders are chosen from amongst the people. Is that not correct? And so we cannot really say who planted the seed that has made us to see the fruits that we are eating currently, right? But there is a need to plant a new seed. And that's why we have started these conversations. We understand that there are challenges currently, but we really need to be intentional about how to fix it for the future, because we cannot give our kids excuses.
We can't continue to lament.
We cannot continue.
I think he's already established, one of the callers already established it. He pointed at the politicians. So if we know that the politicians are the ones doing it, why do we then enable ourselves to be used?
We know
pawns?
that these politicians are going to
He
use
made
it.
instances of other states in Nigeria where he talked about how everything has been moved to, Abuja. There's a great extent of religious tolerance here in Abuja, right?
I see that.
So why is that so? If we can achieve that here in the nation's capital because
happening?
It's Abuja,
Yeah.
what's happening in Jos? What's going on in Kano? What's going on in Sokoto?
Some people.
Let's talk about Plateau State and the potential that state has as regards,
tourism.
Yes.
Even food and all that.
Imagine connecting Benue, connecting Plateau State. It will be like you see. How do I put it now? Mexico, US, and Canada are going to be hosting the 2026 World Cup. Like it's like a triangle thing.
Indeed.
And imagine that is also brought to our side. That Benue collaborates with Plateau, and then Plateau links it to Abuja.
To do something.
Just how we're expecting that Lagos and Ogun are going to work together to see that if there are people who now live in Ogun, they move to work to Lagos, they move from Oyo to like, how do we intertwine all of this so that regardless of where you're coming from, we still agree and not capitalize on these differences or these divisions?
there's just really a dark cloud of lies in the air. This is the truth. I
But if
I,
you talk-
I,
okay.
I was in Kano not long ago.
Okay.
And I have no one Christian friend in the north. All my friends are Muslim. One of my closest friends today, Sultan Kamal, is a Muslim, and we get along so amazingly. That's why I said there's a lie that is just hanging in the cloud.
So who is going to break this lie? Who will break the
It will
lie?
start from
who is telling the
conversations.
lie, or who is hearing this lie?
Many people are hearing the lie. They just need to hear the truth more and see the benefits of the truth. This
Now,
is
when you see the politicians gather, you know that who is this man now? I'm trying to remember the former governor of Oyo State. He's late now, Ajimobi. You know his daughter. I think he got his daughter or his son got married to a Kanu politician, or I think yes. Yeah, I think Ajimobi was a Muslim actually, but his wife is Christian. His wife is Florence, and she's always spoken about
the highest
you
form
know
of
Fashola's wife is a Christian, right?
my president's wife is a Christian.
You know, there are some of these things that honestly, and they live.
They leave.
Let's talk about let's even talk about IBB, the former military head. His
Yeah.
wife was from Asaba.
Interesting.
Miriam was from Asaba before
but they lied to
and
this.
for the love, he didn't even marry another wife, even though his religion permits it. For according to his belief, that he wanted this woman, and he wanted to prove to this woman that she really held him. She had his momo button. He decided not to do it. But on a more serious note, I'm just giving these examples to show that it's about personal conviction.
It is.
It's not even religion per se.
And I also think that people underestimate their own power to influence.
Exactly.
Right? In like the man who called and said, "Oh, people in the environment there's this tense feeling. Nobody says hello." When you begin to say hello, don't even say hello to the adults. Just only greet the children. Hi, good morning, my friend. How are you? Where are you going to? This is enough. And pass.
You know, there was something that happened. Oh my goodness, I wish there was more time for us to continue this conversation. There was something that happened during my NYC days. I actually served in Gombe. So I was living with this aunt of mine. We are Christians, of course, but her neighbors were Muslims. So one day I came back from my PPA and my auntie was not around, and I needed to freshen up. I didn't know what to do. The house was locked. I just went straight to their neighbor's house. I think it was during the fast period, and they had broken their fast, so she was cooking stuff and everything. She offered me the food I ate. She wanted me to go inside, and when my auntie came, I was like, "You went to those people's house? What is it?" Like, I'm like, honestly.
So it's something that is even given to us from a generation
Do you
like
get-
before we got here.
And
And
that is
we
not-
have to
okay.
pass something different to the ones that are
She was
coming
shocked that I went
after
there.
us.
I'm like, that they have never, like, since they were there for years, they never interacted on that personal level. Apart from
and
just
nothing happened to you.
what will happen to me?
Interesting. There's
So-
a lie.
So something that happened again. I had an accident. That's it was during my service here as well.
In Gombe.
And it was during this fast period, right? The person that hit on me was a keke guy that, you know, he was a Muslim. And this guy demonstrated a high level of love. You know, he did not stop checking on me until I recovered.
Amazing.
He brought his entire family
to come and
to
greet
come
you.
and, like, he did not stop. I could see that guilt. He was feeling so guilty that, he didn't stop. He footed the bills. He paid the bills rather. He did not stop checking on me until I recovered. So it's not even about, you know, the religion. I've interacted with people on the very, I'm not trying to, you know, take away the pains of other people, the reality there. But I'm saying if we could just capitalize more on the strengths, on the beauty of our diversity,
Indeed.
maybe would go a long way. I think we have a message that I would want us to read, so then you would react to it and then we'll
Okay,
round up.
okay.
Now this message says, "Greetings to you, my sister Cassandra. This is Samuel from Kuje. Good afternoon, thank you. Tolerating each other religiously means accepting and respecting each other's differences in religious beliefs, practices, and traditions. It involves recognizing the right of others to hold their own religious views and engaging with them in a peaceful and harmonious manner. Key principles of religious tolerance: respect for diversity, freedom of religion, respecting the rights of others to hold their own religious views and practice their faith without fear of persecution or discrimination, avoiding judgmental or critical attitude towards others' religious beliefs and practices, and then open communication. Biblical perspective on religious tolerance: love your neighbor. Jesus taught us to love our neighbors as ourselves, regardless of their religious backgrounds. respect for authority, do not judge. Jesus warned us against judging others. Now he goes on to talk about, oh my God, this is quite a lengthy message. I really wish we would have read all of it, but thank you so much, Samuel. And now he says, finally, tolerating each other religiously is essential for creating a peaceful and harmonious society. By respecting each other's differences, engaging in open communication, and promoting mutual understanding, we can foster a culture of tolerance and cooperation. Have a great and wonderful day, Cassandra. Thank you very much, Samuel. So this is what he has said. I think he has just, encapped everything you said this afternoon on the show. Why we need to, be more tolerant.
I have a final word.
Please do.
Cassandra. I just wanted to say to the listeners that they should remember that religious tolerance is not a weakness. Being religiously tolerant does not make you weak. It's a strength. It doesn't ask you to abandon your faith, but to honor the humanity in others. It costs patience when prejudice is louder, courage when division is easier, and love when hate seems justified. But in the end, it builds bridges where walls once stood, and on those bridges, Nigeria will prosper. Thank you very much.
All right, it's not weakness but strength. I really love your conclusion, and it's a very strong message that you've given to us here, that you acknowledging that another person is human first makes you a more a person of strength and not a weak person. Because some people would see that, oh, you're trying to make my own religion to be inferior, there's no way I'm going to accept that. But I think that, to round it up, I have a different perspective.
Go ahead.
I think that we should even look at God himself, like knowing the divine. We should look at knowing divinity personally, like ourselves, not even across religious divides. Yes. How well do you know God? What relationship do you have with God? Because if God made us in his own image and likeness, then I should be able to interact with the next person, because I know that I'm interacting with a God-like person. Because this person was created in the same way as they were created as me. So, away from religion, we should know God for ourselves rather than depend on other people to interpret. I'm not saying don't have your religious leaders that you look up to, but how about knowing God for yourself, or even knowing your religion for yourself? Like, know God for yourself and by yourself. I think that way it gives us a clearer interpretation of everything.
It does.
Okay. All right. It's been a very impactful conversation, I must say, here on the National Core Values. And thank you so much. In fact, the lines are still buzzing. However, we apologize that we cannot take your calls at this moment. But trust us, this conversation is not ending here anytime soon. And I believe that Mr. Huleji is going to come again so that we'll talk about this more, because honestly, I think with the reception from outside, it's clear that this is something that touches home. It's a conversation that a lot of people would want to still talk about, because it touches us on so many angles, and I believe we'll still have to talk about this again. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so very much, Cassandra.
All right, it's been an amazing time chatting with you. And to you, dear listener, thank you for always giving us your loyalty and your listening ear. It is something that we don't take for granted. Please stay back and keep listening to Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, your radio experience you can always count on.
The hits for your drive home.
Eagles 102.3.